Welcome back to Euphony Within. My name is Dara, and in today's video we will discuss how my life has changed so much since the beginning of the year and why I'm having to start over at 44 years old. We'll also look at how I lost the job that I loved for the last 7 years and how I navigated that change and that loss, hopefully to help others who might be going through it, or maybe even just to get to know each other a little bit more as we continue to grow on this channel. All right, what happened? Let's spill some tea, right? That's what everyone's here for, the tea. Well, first I'll share, I was a health and wellness specialist for a healthcare company. It was statewide, so we had an eastern and a western side of the state. I was part of the western division, and the rest of my team was over on the eastern side of the state. And so, I did in-clinic wellness counseling that our providers would send to us, as well as I did corporate wellness where I would go on site to companies and do wellness stuff for our corporate clients. So it was nice. I got to do a little bit of everything. So we were, again, western side of the state. We're kind of starting to hear some rumors, probably late summer, early fall last year, that the hospital was looking to sell two of the hospitals that we partner with in western side of the state. And so for those of us at our company, you know, we weren't really sure what to expect of that. If it sells, what does that mean for us? And it created some uncertainty, and I talked to my manager throughout the whole thing, and you know, it just seemed like rumors. There weren't any concrete evidences that kind of came from it, but you know, we just kept kind of going forward. The rumors were kind of hit or miss. It would be a lot sometimes, and then it would just quiet down. And so by the end of the year, it was kind of quiet. I was focused on growing our new statewide program. And so I was meeting with providers, talking about referrals, and really kind of filling my schedule for, you know, the next part of the year with this new program, as well as the corporate clients that I see on a routine basis. So for me, it really felt more like a time of like, okay, we're kind of growing, we're in this growing phase. And I wasn't really thinking about the rumors as much. I figured if anything happened, you know, we would just be sold to another company and it would just continue on with what we were already doing. So in late January, we had a mandatory Western all staff meeting put before our all entire company staff meeting on a Monday. And I checked in with my manager, because again, she's on the eastern side of the state. I'm like, hey, do you know about this meeting? Are you involved in it? And she was really in the dark and didn't have very much information to help with, other than, you know, to keep her posted. You know, she would support me through whatever. And she's just wonderful, still one of my best friends. And so, you know, we just were like, okay, we'll just navigate this. And so Monday came, and in a matter of minutes, we found out the complete opposite of what we thought. All of Western was going to be closing its doors across the western side of state within 90 days. And it was a huge shock, which is kind of an understatement. I think this was Monday at noon. We still were seeing patients the rest of the day, and our staff were emotional. Our patients were also emotional, because as we were finding out in the meeting, there was a press release as well as news outlets reporting on the fact that we were going to be closing in the next 90 days. So some of our staff found out that way who weren't able to attend. But again, it was heartbreaking, but it was also devastating to the communities, because we served a lot of rural communities, and we're really part of the fabric of those communities and wellness, and a lot of the things that people who maybe weren't taking care of their wellness or regular checkups loved our providers, and as a result were starting to take care of themselves and in the best health that they had been in their lives, because they were actually found people who listened to them, and it was a type of care that they were receiving that they really loved. And so it was a huge huge loss to those communities. And the grieving or the shocking part of the news was not just for the staff, it was again for the community. We went out into the community and I forgot to take my name badge off and it had it on there. You know, everyone, the grocery store, gas station, anywhere, were just one, say how sorry they were that I just lost my job, which was very weird to be out in public and strangers apologizing for losing my job when I didn't say that I lost it. And then also to just experience that in the community, because it always followed up with a meaningful experience that they had had with our company. And so on one hand, it was amazing to see the impact that we had in the community. And on the other hand, it was also really sad knowing that in 90 days, that was not going to be there anymore. So that's basically what happened. That's the tea of how we found out and losing a job. I kind of compare it to going through a breakup with someone that you didn't want to break up with. They didn't want to break up with you, but circumstances kind of prevent you from being together. And that's really what it felt like, because I loved being at the company. I loved the values. I loved everything about it. And while no one's perfect, you know, it was definitely a good fit for me. And I do miss it. But at the same time, like, I do believe everything happens for a reason. And so we'll talk about what I feel like that kind of pushed me towards in just a minute. But first, I wanted to kind of talk about what were 3 things that I kind of learned or experienced as I navigated this. Because again, it's not like we just bam, close the door. It was 3 months of a full schedule, and then also closing up shop, the clinics, and all those types of things too, from being out there for over 8 years, kind of a thing for the company too. So it was a very long, drawn out process, but also, you know, like I said, I coped with it in different ways, but I also noticed how others cope too. And so I think there are 3 key takeaways that I hope to share, whether it's losing a job or getting some type of a news that you're in shock with. Like, this applies to a lot of different things. So we will talk about this here. So one of the first things of going through a major life change or event like this, of losing a job, or, you know, again, things changing, is it's okay to process at your own pace. I would say, again, this was the entire Western staff going through this at the same time, of everyone losing their job at once. And everyone processed it differently. Some people were extremely angry, rightfully so. Again, there's no wrong way or right way to process something. Some people were very sad and depressed. Some people were just kind of numb and just kind of like not really sure what to do, and shocked, so to speak. And so it was just this wide array of us all going through the same experience, but then how do you kind of, you know, go through the experience as an individual too. They had some people who had their resumes typed up and ready to send out like the night of, and even though they were extremely angry and upset and frustrated, they needed to have security, and that's understandable too. Like, they needed to know now what they had. And then you had some who, well, like for me, the way I was able to process it is because, like I mentioned, I had a full schedule up until like mid-March. Like, I really didn't have time to think about it. And so for the entire month of February, I just kind of went through just kind of seeing what happened, also to, you know, so that I could focus on being present for my patients as well as my clients. And so I just, while I was hearing every day how much people were upset about what was happening, as I was upset too, you know, sometimes the only thing I could say was, yes, this sucks, and just kind of, you know, there's not really any other explanation to go along with it. It sucks, and we're just gonna have to navigate this, but let's talk about how you're doing today and what we can do. And so again, that processing piece at your own pace. Some people, it took them a week of just kind of grieving, and then they would, kind of be ready to kind of move forward. I think like I said, I gave myself the month of February just to kind of like, all right, let's just see what happens and see how I feel at the end of February into March as to if I want to apply for jobs. Because for me, I have poured my heart and soul into the company. I created programs, I created workshops and presentations. I was doing wellness counseling. I was doing Make a Teen Sensation, and just all these things of giving and creating and things that were helping people, but also the company was making money from too. And I couldn't take any of that stuff with me, and that was heartbreaking. I really couldn't process applying for something and going through the same situation again. And so for me, I needed to process and see what I really want to do. Did I have the heart to kind of go into another company again? Would there be another job like that where I could do that? And so I just took time, but for others, they were able to kind of move forward in different things too. So it was interesting to see how things came together for people at different times along those 90 days. And it was perfectly okay that some people kind of rushed right into something. Some people took their time. Some people were able to find something midway through and then, close out their time with the company. So again, it's okay to process things at your own pace. And that's really one of the biggest things that I learned was it's okay. You don't have to be at the exact same place that someone else is at. And that person doesn't have to be where you're at either, which will lead me into the second thing I learned. So the second thing I learned was to communicate your needs and where you're at with your loved ones, and to be okay with not being okay. It can be really challenging watching a loved one suffer, mostly because you love them, and a lot of times we might not know what to say or do, and that's okay. And a lot of times when I would tell people that I had lost my job, they would instantly go into at first, oh, you'll find something better, oh, it's meant to be, and all great things that are true. But where I was at in that moment, I wasn't ready to hear that or receive that. And I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was like, Mom, I'm going to stop you right there. I love and appreciate that you are trying to encourage me. I just need you to listen to me and just know that you're here for me as I kind of go through this process. And when I do decide what I'm going to do, you can go full into cheerleader mode, and I will love every second of it, and it will be very well received. Right now, I'm upset and I'm sad, and I need to know that you're just there. You don't have to fix anything or do anything. I need to know that I'm supported. And so that was a really helpful conversation that I had with a few people in my life who were close to me, and just being able to express that, hey, I need some time to process. And I appreciate, again, they were coming from a good place. It's not like they were being mean, but it felt kind of dismissive of my feelings too. So it was like, it's okay for me to feel the feelings that I'm feeling, because I know I will come through that, and they know that too. And so now that I have come through that, they are my biggest cheerleaders, and I love it. But at the time when it first happened, I just needed some time to process it, because not only was I processing my emotions, I was also taking on the emotions of my coworkers, as well as the emotions of my patients and clients. And so that was very overwhelming for me, and I just needed some time before I could, work through that. So again, communicate your needs. Now I will say, as going through it, that doesn't mean that I wasn't able to be supportive of other people. One of my best friends in life, she's one of the best behavioral care managers ever. Love her. And the behavioral care team was picked up by another company that was looking to come into the area. And so team with some of the programs that were being very impactful in the community. And I was so excited for her. Like, even though I didn't know what I was going to do, I was sad about what was going on, I was so pumped for them. Like, seriously, it was exciting, and I was able to celebrate that with her. But I was able to celebrate those wins, even though I was also going through a grieving process. And I think that's the other thing of being able to communicate your needs. And while it was challenging sometimes because I might not have been in a celebratory mood 24/7, that was okay. Because I just need, like, also being like, hey, when I am processing emotions, just being able to be honest about that, and also being able to talk about those types of things too. So that's where I would just say, again, being open and honest with communication, what your needs are, and let people know how they want to support you. If you know someone who's going through grief or loss, ask them what they might need, and honor that. They will tell you what they need a lot of times. Most people don't ask that. They just assume or do things that might come, again, from a good place, but actually can be quite hurtful. So again, it's okay to communicate, but again, it's okay to not be okay, because we know that eventually we will be okay. That's why we do that at the end of the video. It's okay if the sun's not shining today or tomorrow, it will come out again. And that is something that I definitely was up and down as we kind of went through the 90 days of closing. So, all right, what's number 3? When you're ready to forgive and move forward, do it. It's okay. I would say towards the end of the 90 days, I was definitely had processed things. It was just more or less sad to feel like I wasn't going to have my coworkers every day, as well as seeing my patients every day, or even knowing how I was going to kind of move forward with my business and things like that. I had already had a name of a business, had it registered as an LLC. I just hadn't done anything with it yet, because my mental and emotional energy and my physical energy were all tied into the company. And this really kind of gave me some time to just kind of disconnect, but also start to build towards my business, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But again, it's okay to be upset, but also to forgive. I can't imagine being a CEO, and our company was very much so tried to treat people like family. This didn't feel as much like that, and I think that they have definitely learned from some things from this situation and have grown, which is awesome. That's all you can really ask for. But I can't imagine being the CEO and knowing that you've had to let go of these things. I was able to get to that point. While I was upset, mostly too, understandably, because it felt like this huge betrayal of being a family member and then being just let go at a moment's notice, like I meant nothing. And that's not just me, that's as a whole, our entire Western group. It was hard to deal with. It was hard to process at first, but again, to get to a point where you can start to try to look at it through the lens of the other person too, and that had to have been challenging for them. And I will say that I have had an amazing severance package, and our HR team, well, not ours anymore, I still have to kind of work on separating. I'm not part of the company, but their HR team has been so supportive. Like, I have one question, I reach out, I get a response right away, and like they have just been supportive, and that has been just a lovely thing, when I know that there are some companies that aren't as supportive for the staff when they're going through things as well. So I do feel blessed in that sense, and fortunate, and that did feel more like the family that I knew, where they took really good care of us. And so again, towards the end there, I was ready to kind of start to move forward, and I wasn't upset anymore. And other people were too. They were ready to start new chapters, and some people were still a little angry or had things happen. And so, again, everyone processes things differently, and when we're going through a tough time, our healthy and unhealthy coping techniques can come out. And so again, not right or wrong, but again, it all gets processed differently as you're going through thousands of people who are kind of going through the same thing. And so, it felt good to forgive. I genuinely wish the best to the rest of the team on the eastern side of the state, and am rooting for them with the new statewide program that we had started. Will just now be an eastern side of the state, and just see them, as individuals and as well as a team, be successful, because I also know that they are also going to be my biggest cheerleaders as well. But even if that wasn't the case, like I would rather spend my energy on good stuff versus like being angry or upset because they really had nothing to do with the decision. It was really a matter of circumstances that, again, just sucked and were out of our control on all levels. And we really just had to navigate and, again, kind of grow with where we were with that. So, all right. So, what now? That is the question. What am I going to do now? I'm 44. Starting over my career. It feels weird. I will say though, I have loved being in my 40s and this is no different. So I am starting my own online business. Like I said earlier, when I was thinking about starting over, I was like, you know what? Why don't I just do what I do now, but make it for a larger audience versus just in a small city? Let's expand that reach. And so, hence why we're doing an online business and hopefully make a difference in others outside of my area too. Really, I'm just looking forward to building a community of new faces and also bringing along familiar faces. I have loved working with my patients and clients, and so this is one way where I can still keep in touch and they still have access to me as well. So again, it's a win-win for everyone, which I love. If you're interested in learning more about the YouTube channel specifically, you can go watch my first YouTube video, which explains all about the channel and who I am and my background. I will link it somewhere around here, and you can go check that out. Uh, Thanks for watching. If you made it this far in the video, why don't you drop a smiley face or a sunshine emoji in the comment section. Let me know what you thought. If there's ever been anything that you've gone through like this, what are some things that you've learned to cope through it? And don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get to see when the new videos come out. We have some fun ones coming out over the next month or two. Excited to share some behind the scenes, but also some great content coming out. Yeah, with that, again, appreciate you watching as we grow on this channel. Share the video, like it. And remember, as always, you're not alone. And while the sun may not be shining today or tomorrow, it will come out again. See you soon.